How does an ice cream company, making these amazing treats in Italy, suddenly find itself selling in, like, over 100 countries? What does that journey actually look like?
It's a fascinating question, isn't it? It's rarely just a straight line.
Exactly. And today, we're diving deep into global brand expansion. We've got some fantastic firsthand insights from Gianna Palazzi. She's the marketing manager at an Italian ice cream company called GI.
Yeah, she's detailed their whole step-by-step process, how they went from local Italian favorite to, well, a truly global brand.
So our mission for you today is to really unpack the different ways companies move beyond their home turf. From those first cautious steps to really deep international involvement.
And explore that tricky balance, right, between being global and still appealing to local tastes.
Get ready for some real aha moments about how businesses grow internationally. Okay, let's unpack this. So imagine GI. They're this traditional Italian ice cream maker.
Right.
And suddenly, bam, orders start coming in from Scandinavia.
Places they hadn't even targeted, right?
Exactly. They were wondering, how did people even hear about us up there? It wasn't some grand strategy. It just happened.
And that reaction, Gianna explained, it's fascinating. Their first move, classic first step. It's what we call indirect export.
Okay, indirect export. What does that actually mean in practice for them?
Well, instead of setting up their own shops or sales teams, they contacted these exclusive agents in Scandinavia.
Agents. So like local reps.
Pretty much. These agents represented GI, they handled the sales, and each one had their own specific territory.
Oh, okay.
It's a really low-risk way to sort of test the waters internationally. Minimum investment,
Right, that makes sense. You avoid the big upfront costs, the hassle of figuring out new rules and shipping complexities yourself. You let someone local handle it.
Exactly. Focus on making great ice cream.
I mean, how much do you really learn about that market if you're just using agents? Are you getting the real story?
That's the trade-off, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, do you miss out on understanding what customers really want? Or maybe your brand message gets a bit diluted.
You've hit on a key point there. Indirect export is great for dipping your toe in. But, yeah, the feedback is limited. It's filtered. You don't get those deep insights into consumer habits or what competitors are doing. Not directly, anyway. It's low investment, sure, but it can definitely create blind spots.
Okay, so it's a smart start, but maybe not a long-term solution if you're serious about growth.
Precisely. And as those orders from Scandinavia and other places started picking up, GI realized exactly that. They needed to be more involved.
They need more control.
Yeah, and better market understanding, and that pushed them to the next stage, direct export.
Okay, direct export. So the name suggests they're doing it themselves now. What actually changed inside the company? What did that shift look like?
It was a pretty big change, actually. It showed a much stronger commitment. They stopped using those third-party agents entirely.
Right, cut out the middleman.
Yep. And instead, they made a significant investment. They hired their own export manager.
Based in Italy?
Based in Italy, yes, but definitely not tied to a desk. Gianna mentioned this person traveled, get this, 11 months out of the year.
11 months. Wow.
Yeah.
That's dedication.
Incredible, isn't it? Personally, going to all these different markets, managing sales directly, building relationships face-to-face.
So this wasn't just about processing orders anymore. This was about being there.
Exactly. It signaled a much deeper commitment, a desire for direct control over how their brand was presented and sold internationally. They went from being represented to actively representing themselves.
That export manager, traveling nearly nonstop, that's a huge investment in just one person's time and energy. What did that direct control give them that the agents couldn't, beyond just, signing deals?
Oh, much more. It was a total shift in market intelligence.
How so?
Well, that manager wasn't just selling, they were observing, seeing how people actually bought ice cream, what competitors were up to, the cultural stuff around displaying products.
Real on-the-ground insights.
Absolutely. Building direct relationships with distributors, retailers, getting that raw, unfiltered feedback. It let GI tailor things much better, react faster.
And keep the brand message consistent, I imagine.
Exactly. Much harder to do that through layers of agents. It cost more, sure, that travel, that salary, but it was an investment in really understanding the market and building the brand long term.
Okay, so they've got direct export humming along. They're learning a ton. What comes next? Did they feel like even that wasn't enough integration?
Well, direct export is great, but you're still shipping finished ice cream across the world, right?
Yeah.
That gets expensive, complicated, think tariffs, shipping logistics.
And adapting the actual ice cream to local tastes is probably harder when you're making it all back in Italy.
Precisely. So that pushed them towards strategies involving local production. First up was licensing.
Licensing, so like selling the recipe?
Kind of.
Yep.
More like selling the rights to produce the ice cream, using GI's specific techniques, their recipes, and crucially, using the GI brand name. All under license, of course.
Okay, so someone else makes it, but it's still GI ice cream.
That's the idea. Gianna gave Thailand as an example. They sign a licensing deal with a local company there. That company could then produce and market GI ice cream within Thailand.
Ah, interesting. So GI gets into the market fast with less capital needed from their side because the local partner handles production.
Exactly. Lower risk, faster entry, but
There's always a bet.
always. You raise big questions about protecting your secrets, your recipes, your methods, and maintaining quality and brand consistency when someone else is actually making the product.
Yeah, that seems like a huge risk.
Yeah.
How do you stop them from, cutting corners or even becoming a competitor down the line using your know-how?
It takes really solid legal agreements. Watertight contracts specifying quality standards, ingredients, production methods, even marketing rules.
And checking up on them, presumably?
Constantly. Regular audits, taste tests, market checks. You have to monitor it closely. And choosing the right partner is absolutely critical. You need someone trustworthy who gets the brand.
Okay, so licensing is one step deeper. What else did they do?
Well, building on that, especially for really complex markets, they moved into joint ventures.
Joint ventures. Okay, that sounds more involved than just licensing.
It is. In China, for example, huge market, notoriously tricky for outsiders. GI didn't just license. They signed an agreement with a big, established local food processing company.
And Gianna stressed they were treated as equal partners. That sounds important.
Very important. It means shared investment, shared risk, shared decision-making. And crucially, GI could tap into that local partner's deep knowledge of the Chinese market, their distribution networks, their understanding of consumer tastes.
Stuff that would be incredibly hard, maybe impossible, for an Italian company to figure out on its own quickly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So why do a joint venture in a place like China instead of just more licensing or trying to go it alone?
Well, I guess the local expertise is invaluable, and maybe sharing the risk in such a big, complex market makes sense.
Precisely. A joint venture creates a whole new company, co-owned. It's not just selling rights, it's building something together. In China, with the regulations, the scale, the unique tastes, a partner wasn't just helpful, it was almost essential.
Equal partners, sharing the costs, risks, and the profits. That's a much deeper relationship than licensing.
Definitely. And the fact this joint venture ran successfully for 5 years tells you it worked well for them, especially in a market known for being tough.
It really shows that progression, doesn't it? From just sending boxes to letting someone else make it to actually creating a shared business.
Yeah, each step involves more commitment, more risk, but also potentially more control and higher rewards.
What are the typical challenges with joint ventures? I imagine even with equal partners, things can get complicated, especially with different company cultures.
Oh, absolutely. Clashes over strategy, management style, how to spend the profits, cultural misunderstandings. It happens.
So how do you avoid that?
Success really hinges on choosing the right partner, upfront, thorough due diligence, looking for cultural fit, shared vision, and then setting up crystal clear rules from the start. Governance, decision-making, how you'll resolve disputes. It's like a business marriage. It needs constant communication and respect.
Okay, so 5 successful years with the joint venture in China. That clearly built a lot of confidence and knowledge about that specific market. What was the next and maybe final step for GI there?
It was the ultimate leap, really. The logical conclusion after proving the model: direct investment. Meaning, after the success and learning from the joint venture, GI decided, okay, we know this market now, we're ready to go all in.
So they went beyond partnership.
Completely. They built their own ice cream factories in China, and they took over all the marketing themselves, too.
Wow, so full control, owning the whole operation there.
Exactly. Highest level of commitment, highest control, highest capital investment. They went from supplier to licensor to partner to finally being a fully self-sufficient operator in China, owning that entire value chain.
That's huge.
Yeah.
What does that mean for the company back in Italy? Building factories overseas isn't just about pouring concrete, right? You need new skills, new structures.
Oh, it's transformational. Massive capital outlay, obviously. But also, think about talent. You need local managers, production experts, sales teams, marketers, all hired and trained locally.
New supply chains too, I guess. Local ingredients, local logistics.
Yep. Navigating local labor laws, HR, everything. And the headquarters in Italy needs to manage this global footprint, integrate finances, align strategy, but still empower the local teams. It's a complete shift in how they operate. Shows massive confidence in that market.
So GI is now in 120 countries. An incredible journey from those surprise orders. Does this mean you get the exact same GI Italian ice cream everywhere you go? Same flavors in Rome as in, say, Shanghai or Rio?
That's a great question, and the answer is actually no. While GI is definitely a global brand, they don't take a purely standardized global offering approach.
Right.
Gianna was clear. While the core brand identity is consistent, GI makes a conscious choice to adapt their products, tailoring them to individual markets and local tastes.
So think global, act local. That whole idea.
Exactly that. Marketers sometimes call it glocalization. She gave a specific example. Some countries just prefer sweeter ice cream.
Really? Okay.
So GI adjusts the sweetness levels for those markets. They might use local fruits, change packaging for cultural reasons, maybe even create unique flavors just for one region.
Interesting. So being global doesn't have to mean being identical everywhere?
Not for GI, anyway. Their success seems to lie in understanding that nuance, adapting strategically, rather than forcing one single version on everyone.
But how do they maintain that core Italianness, that premium gelato image? If they're tweaking flavors to be sweeter or using local ingredients, isn't there a risk of watering down the brand?
It's definitely a balancing act, a very delicate one. The core elements, the quality perception, the commitment to good ingredients, the Italian production heritage, maybe those stay consistent worldwide. That's the brand promise.
Okay.
But how that promise is delivered, the specific flavors or ingredients, that's where they flex, maybe using Italian techniques with local Thai mangoes, for example.
Gotcha. So you recognize the brand, you trust the quality, but the product feels like it's made for your local taste.
Precisely. That connection is key. It's why they've managed to succeed in so many different places. That careful blend of global consistency and local relevance.
So we've really followed GI's journey, haven't we? From those first unexpected orders all the way to being a global player in 120 countries.
Yeah, through indirect export, then direct, then licensing, joint ventures, and finally full direct investment. A really clear, calculated progression.
And all while juggling that global brand image with adapting to local tastes. It's quite the masterclass in expanding internationally.
It really illustrates how companies can scale up thoughtfully, respecting different consumers along the way. It's rarely a simple path from local to global.
So listening to this, what stands out to you? How do you think companies really make that call when to jump to the next level of commitment internationally? Is it just about sales numbers or something deeper?
And thinking about that balance, how much does the actual product matter? Like ice cream, something so tied to taste and culture. Can a product like that ever be truly standardized globally? Or is that glocalization, that local adaptation, always going to be necessary for real success?
Definitely something to think about. Where does a company like GI go next, and how will others follow? We hope this deep dive gave you some new perspectives on how brands truly go global.